high school, grade school together. I graduated from there.
This was all one school?
All one school.
How many kids?
I don't really know how many there was in all. There was about 30 in my class. But I don't know how many's in the whole school. And when I was young, the things to do on Sunday was get out and walk around. Walk down these back roads, and they have a thing called a swinging bridge way out down in the country. We'd all walk down to the swinging bridge.
Okay, what I don't understand is right behind the town, behind Peck's house, is that slough.
Yeah.
So when you say walk down a road, you had to be away from the slough. Was it Charleston or?
No, that's back toward back of Anniston. See, what Peck was talking about when he was growing up. Now, when I was growing up, the slough wasn't back behind his house then.
Oh,
that was all filled in. The slough it's still over there, but it's over on the side, just the side there. We used to live across the slough over on a country road over there. And Mom and Daddy run a show. I took care of Nellie and Ian at night. And they'd go down to Pinhook, different places, put on their show, the Magic Act. They done pretty good, too. Mom got where she'd run a show, too. And it was a fun growing up in Anniston. We had a big sidewalk in front of the school, and we'd roller skate for pastime in front of on that sidewalk there.
Is the school building torn down?
It's torn down, yeah. All of it's gone now. And it was just, I started there when I was in 8th grade. Went on through and graduated from there. And you could hear kids hollering and carrying on all over town. And it was really, and everybody would, in the summer would sit out on their porch and you'd walk by and speak to them, and everybody gathered at everybody's porch and talk and tell about what went on that day or the news they'd heard or whatever. And now it's real quiet. In fact, Marguerite Thurman said you couldn't even buy a loaf of bread down there. Now there's no stores or anything. The only thing there is a post office. And but we could get everything we need. They even had clothing. When I was a girl growing up there in Anniston, you could buy clothing, you could buy sewing material, anything you need you could get there in Anniston. But now there's nothing left but a post office. It was really fun growing up.
Did they, like on the 4th of July, did they do anything? Or?
Well, Daddy always barbecued a goat. Not in Anniston, but in days gone by, that was a tradition that we always done. And after I got married, that's what we always done, was barbecue a goat and have a lot of people in for the 4th of July. And sometime we'd have them to 12 o'clock at night. And big scope sandwiches and sodas and just have a big time, you know. And we start early in the morning. People would come at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, stay all day long to about 12 at night. And we just have a big time. Just shoot fireworks, have our fireworks at night.
Fireworks in Anniston?
No, I had to move to Charleston. Yeah.
Nope. Like on Sundays, did you go over to your grandparents' house or?
No.
Like a Sunday like you were growing up?
Yeah, when I was growing up, you worked all day getting yourself ready to go out on Saturday night. You'd wash your hair and polish your shoes. Back then you had to polish your shoes. White, that old white polish get all over everything, you know. Rub against it, get on you. Everybody polished their shoes and washed their own hair, curled it, pressed their clothes, took all day long to get ready to go out Saturday night. Then we go out dancing. Have a big time dancing. Everybody would together, yeah.
Go dancing in Anniston?
No, they had to go to Charleston and dance, but everybody'd get together and go to Charleston and dance.
They don't even have a dance in Charleston?
No, they don't have no, that's all gone. Not even in Charleston anymore. You can't even go dancing in Charleston anymore.
How'd you meet Uncle Ricky?
I mean, that's the dance. And he didn't even dance.
Is that right?
Yeah. He come out with a friend of his, and I was with the girlfriend of mine. Back then it was just...
He came up with a preacher?
No, he didn't come with a preacher. That's a different story. He was one of the preachers.
What happened? I mean, you just went to the dance and started talking to him?
Well, the girl I was with knew the boy he was with, Uncle Richard was with. And they sat down at our table. And I said, ooh, after we got up to dance, me and the girl, back then girls danced with girls, you didn't think anything about it. Nowadays you couldn't do that, but back then you didn't think anything about it. I said, I believe he's the ugliest thing I ever saw. And Margie, the girl that was with me, said, well, Richard's a good-looking man. I said, he's ugly. I guess you know we went together from then on, got married 9 months later. Yeah. But I don't know, to me right then, well, we had broke up with our boyfriends, and we was awful men. You know, we didn't want no men. And that night I met my husband, my future husband. Yeah. We had, and he was back down there Sunday.
Did my dad have any girlfriends while you were growing up? Do you remember any of them?
I remember Gladys Davis that he had, that he really liked her a lot. He didn't have a whole lot of girlfriends. He was kind of a loner, but he did like her. And I'm sure there was others I didn't know anything about. But he,
I'm trying to remember that. He's older than you, right?
Yeah, he was about 9 years older than me.
You don't remember him getting in any kind of trouble or anything like that?
No.
Didn't pull any pranks?
I remember Mama telling one time, said, Charles come up to her and said, Mama, there's something I want to do, but I know you won't let me. And she said, well, what is it, son? He said, well, I want to do it, but I know you won't let me. She said, well, tell me what it is. And he said, I want to go with the girls.
Did he go out with you that night?
Well, now, one time, he come home, and I took him out to the Freedoms, a dance club where me and Uncle Richard met, and him and your mama. And I think they really enjoyed that. It was just young people. That's all it was back then, young people. And I think he really enjoyed that. But me and your dad was always real close. Thought an awful lot of each other. Had some good times together. We never done anything really good together. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
But we used to enjoy being around each other.
You know, see, if he was 9 years older.
Oh, I mean, how old would he be now?
He took up, well, he was born in 1925, so that's...
And I was born in 32, so he was 7 years. 7 years old.
7.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, you know, he went to the Navy, say, when he was 18, you were 11 when he left home.
Yeah.
So, and then he came back in the 40s.
Well, see, we lived at Hornersville then, when he went in the... we lived out in California when he went in the Navy.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
San Diego, yeah.
Well, I knew they lived out there for a while.
Yeah. He lived in San Diego.
So he went in the Navy in San Diego?
Yeah, he was 17 years old when he went in the service.
What made him decide to join the Navy?
I don't know, unless he just wanted...
You know, as an Army guy, I just wanted to know what the hell was wrong with him.
Yeah. he just wanted to join, I guess. He never did say why he wanted to join the Navy or... You know,
probably all that time spent around the Missouri Ocean.
Yeah. He just wanted to get through the world, I guess. But he didn't come back home much after he joined the Navy. We didn't get to see him too much.
What do you remember? I guess, you know, Pa Charlie and Ma and them were both at home when you were growing up, though.
Who?
Pa Charlie and Ma and them.
Oh, yeah, they were both home.
It's like when you come up, like say the normal day for you whenever you finish school. Or let's say it's time to get up and you get ready to go to school. What would be a normal day?
Well, you'd get up, go wash your face and hands, eat your breakfast, and Mom would always be fussing, messing. And you'd get ready and you'd walk to school.
How far was that?
Oh, about 5 blocks to school. And And then you run home for dinner. We had to eat dinner at home.
What time school?
Now we're here. You'll have to turn back this way. Here, turn right. You got in the wrong lane. Now stop right here. Turn here.
I was gonna go to Oak Grove first.
Oh, okay.
Then go up here.
School got out at 3:30, and you come home, and then we had to get in cold and pump the water. We had a pump, and you had to pump water for drinking and bathing and washing. Have an old-timey pump. We had an outdoor toilet, and you come in from school, you done your chores, pump the water and get the coal in, and set the table for supper, and this one. Eat supper and wash up the dishes, and if you had homework, turn here till you leave. If you had homework to do your homework. And then we went to bed by 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now just follow this road all around.
You have to rack by 8:30 or 9?
Yeah, 8:30 or 9 o'clock.
You have electricity up there?
Yeah, we had electricity.
When did you get the indoor plumbing?
We never did have it there in that house. When Mom and Dad moved to Dorsey Howard's house, they had it. But then they moved back to the old place, so we never did have it. We had it in the sink in the kitchen. That was after I was married. They put a sink in the kitchen for Mama. But no bathroom.
So, I mean, dishes were always done from a tub?
No, from dish pans. You had dish pans.
Oh, okay.
You had 2 dish pans, one to wash your dishes in, one to put them in, and then you poured hot water off that's in a tea kettle on the stove over your dishes to scald them. Get all the germs off of them, then you dry them and put them away.
Where do you get the water?
Had to pump it from outside. Outside was the pump.
You bring it in and heat it up?
No, yeah, you had to bring it in and heat it up. And we had water buckets. We kept it. Had 2 water buckets.
Yeah.
We kept on the little table and dipper. Everybody drank out of the same dipper and the same water bucket. You didn't have glasses for each one of them.
What kind of heat did you have in the house?
We had coal, burnt coal.
So, I mean, before you could get hot water in the morning or anything, you had to get out and start the fire.
You had to start your fire.
I bet you had special in summer when you had to run that.
Well, we set our bath water out in the sun in the summer and let the sun heat it. And take our bath at night. In the winter, you had to heat it on the stove to take your bath. But there wasn't a lot of tub bathing in the winter. It's mostly just working off real good.
Yeah.
You know. It would take too much water in the winter.
Well, how many bedrooms did that house have?
3. The ones before us used 1 room for another bedroom, which made 4. But Mama had a kitchen and a dining room, and a long room she just used to keep stuff in. Front room and her daddy's bedroom, and then 2 bedrooms upstairs. Right here. Turn here, this little road.
So, how many people slept in a bedroom?
2.
2 to a room?
Yeah. Nell and Nia slept together. Mom and Dad slept together, then I slept by myself. Turn up here at this little. That's when I was home. Now, before then, we lived in different places. Me and Doris and Patsy all slept together. There'd be 3 in a bed. Turn here.
What you just heard was Aunt Sally's recollections of life in Anniston. I'm on the road now, headed to Aunt Edith. So hopefully the next thing we'll hear is some recollections from Aunt Edith in Poplar Bluff. Now you can tell me that story.
Okay. Sally and myself, we got dressed up in a negligee. It was Christmas time, and tree lights was just a flickering, so pretty. Somebody knocked on the door. Sally said, "Come in." Well, they did. It was 2
You were
o'clock.
sitting on the bed in these negligees.
Yeah, in the front room. She was
Just the
sitting
2
in
of
her
you,
chair.
sitting
Yeah.
naked in the front room.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
we had them negligees on, you know, and all. Come find out it was 2 preachers from the church.
And they thought it was like another one of those miracles
We
in
couldn't get them
Genesis.
leave. We couldn't get them leave.
They didn't want to leave.
You didn't have a bathroom or anything, just
No, it's just, oh, beautiful. I mean, they
Where's the picture of this?
we probably didn't get it made that night. They come in, they sat down, and we knew we couldn't get up because that line was just a flashing. They didn't want to leave either.
I wonder why. How old were you guys?
Well, that's when I weighed about 118 pounds. Sally probably about the same. That's what we just.
2 preachers come in and they got good-looking women naked on the bed in their negative.
And they didn't want to talk about the Bible.
I don't understand. But they did talk about Revelation.
Well, it did happen.
Did you get to sit up front in church the next week?
I think we skipped the next week. I don't think we went to church. Well, and that's just recently. When I've been real sick, I was on my bed. Just the health nurse had come in, checked me over, and the guy knocked on the door. Rocky just opened the door. He said something about Cox. And he said, well, there's my aunt right there. Maybe you know who she's talking about. Well, I looked at him. I was, well, maybe he's working with the nurse, you know. So he got over there in the corner of that chat, and he sat and sat and sat. Well, the nurse finally left, and he still sat. And I said, can I help you with something? My own aunt. I didn't know who he was. He was a preacher.
He was one of the 2 preachers?
No, this was another one.
Oh, all right. You got this way with preachers.
Yeah, I do. And,
But he never did tell us who he was or anything. Didn't introduce himself.
Patsy was sitting at
The
the
one who's
table.
here?
He
He
just
doesn't
come
work.
in and sat down and didn't say a word or anything. And he said his name was Cox, and Rocky said, well, there's my Aunt Sally Cox, and you may be some kin to her. And he didn't say anything, and I said, well, I married Richard Cox. He didn't say anything. So I didn't talk anymore, you know. Didn't say anything. He just kept sitting over in the corner. And then Nellie asked him, said, could I help you? He said, well, I'm the preacher from the Baptist church.
But then he pulled the chair right up at the bed, right above my pillow. I thought he was going to get in bed with me.
Something wrong with him. There was something wrong. He didn't come back. They don't come back.
Definitely.
They thought something was wrong because he didn't get to bed.
That's right.
Or because he was thinking about it.
Well, I had to tell this on Edith.
Oh, okay.
This is a good one on her. A couple years, was about 3 years ago, I had a Christmas party.
Yeah.
Everybody came, I guess it was 20.
Well, it's longer than that, hon, about 4 years ago.
About 4 years. And they partied, and I told them, I said, I've got to go to bed. I got to lay down. Well, my son-in-law's brother was in that bed in Rocky's room. So I just went in and crawled beside of him, you know. I had to get some rest.
Who's this guy?
This is Frank's brother. Frank Skinner, my son-in-law's
okay.
brother.
Tina's husband's brother.
And Edith come in there, she pulled up all her clothes. And she got in bed, she said, scoot over. I said, I can't. She said, scoot over, damn it. I said, I can't. She said, why can't you? I said, there's a man in this bed.
She jumped up and grabbed her clothes and gone to the front room.
Right.
Slept in the chair all night.
Well, it took her forever. She said, well, Russ, I never believed this. And he was in here doing something, drinking and making moves. I just told her, I said, I can't scoot over. There's a man in here. She lay there. She said, well, I can't do that. She got the bed spread and wrapped around me.
Russ wanted to know who slept in the middle.
Yeah. Say, well, it wasn't you.
Yeah. Sure.
That's that negligee in those preachers.
That was funny, Ed. That was funny. The lights was up there. Everything was so pretty, you know. We sat there in our negligee just having a
I
good
forgot about that sparkle, too. We sprayed our hair with that hair sparkle. It looked like Christmas tree lights up here in your head.
I'm trying to figure out the part that goes, it's 5:30 in the afternoon and the guys are gone. So they say, well, do you want a drink? Let's make a drink. So you make a drink and you say, well, what do you want to do tonight? Oh, I don't know. Why don't we get naked and spray our hair with sparkle? Sit on the couch and wait for the preachers to come. What do you think? Yeah, it's a heck of an idea. I think
Let's do it. And you made a good story out of that.
Yeah.
Oh, we did get naked, but we had naked.
Could you see through these naked?
Yes. And I'm talking about Chicago. That hand was a little roll forward, but you could see through all of it, you know.
Yeah.
When they flirt, and, when you walk, it's like Cinderella.
You didn't feel a little self-conscious, these guys sitting there looking at
Why,
you?
yes, we should. No. I'm bad and grown up. How would you feel if you was like that preachers come in to talk?
So I got to tell you, if the preacher caught me with in a negligee with my hair sprinkled, I'd feel real uncomfortable.
Well, I'd go with my hair.
Must be a girl thing.
The funny part of it was they didn't want to leave. They stayed the night.
Of course.
Where else could they get entertainment?
Yeah, free.
They didn't want to leave.
Yeah.
They just cut up and went on with it.
You didn't have to get up and use ladies' room or anything in between.
No, we wouldn't have dared. They would have stayed all night, I guess. We didn't even go to the bathroom. We had to go to the bathroom, but we didn't even get to go to the bathroom.
Why were the preachers there?
I went to church up here at the Christian church then, and I had been in the hospital. Well, when anybody was in the hospital,
They probably thought you were responsible for death and cold.
if they didn't have much money or anything, we always give them $100 right at Christmas if they had been in the hospital, you know. Well, I wasn't even thinking anything about that because, and they had come out. There wasn't any presents or anything, you know. Well, I had decorated before I left, you know. And we had presents on the tree. They had come out to give me $100, but they didn't give it. Because we had it all. Why give us any money? It's free. We had it all. That's how I had silver in our hair and I had gold. You know, I stuck you spray like Halloween, you know. Well, this is that like glitter. You know what glitter is?
Yeah.
That's what we had in our hair. And we spray it on. It just sparkles and glitters and carries on.
What do you suppose those two guys said to each other as they walked out the door?
Oh, we're going back.
We'll have to come back next week.
We're going back.
Did they ever come back?
No. Not that I know of.
Their wives probably found out.
Somebody found out about it.
Spoiled
A lot of fun. I tell you, we've had more fun out of that, though.
Imagine.
We had more fun of it now. Let's laugh more about that.
Is it now this the night that Uncle Richard?
No, this one the night when they pictures.
No, I said that's a different night than when they came home.
Yeah, this is a different night.
Did they ever find out?
I don't know whether Richard ever knows that about that or not. I don't think we told that. I don't think we told that story to him. He might have heard it secondhand from somebody else, but I don't think we ever told him.
I probably wouldn't go around telling them about it.
Well, Doris, I think it was Doris or somebody told me that you wanted to hear about your aunt that believes in ghosts. Did you?
Oh, she told me something about the rapid spirits. Which one is that?
Millie.
Keep thinking. Now, what was this deal again about when Charlie brought what that guy's name was, Davis, the black guy?
Oh, I don't remember much about him. I was married at the time when he brought him down.
The one that ended up renaming himself after the Thurmans.
Yeah.
She said somebody brought him home and didn't tell my man.
Look at that. She looked in her chicken yard and there was a little elephant and a monkey.
This is when he decided to join the circus. I mean, he just went out one day and decided he wanted to join the circus.
He had his own circus.
Yeah.
He had that show, that old bus, that show.
Yeah.
And Daddy could do it. So he got him with some people down in Louisiana. Where in Louisiana, where he got the elephant and the monkey and the black man.
They brought the elephant and the monkey to the house.
Brought them all up to the house. Yeah. The circus would come to town. Mama doesn't let the circus stay too long at her. That's when them one's see and one's gone.
Well, now this
I think it's this Thurman Circuit show, didn't it?
Circuit show.
Uh-huh.
And then I know that he had a magic act and he did some kind of music, showed films or something. Were you guys both in it?
No, these
Sold tickets and stuff.
sold tickets. He had his own movie machine, like in the olden days.
Yeah.
And
Projectors, you know.
that's what he had, and he'd rent these films and then charge so much. I think 50 cents to get in the circus. No big profit.
Like you go
Yeah.
there,
It's
you
like-
do when you go to the theater, you know,
Yeah.
see a show. Well, that's what, only his was under a 10.
Well, I saw one picture that had, you were in the picture
Yeah.
up on the stage.
Yeah. Doing it, well, we had that made down East Prairie.
Yeah. It was some kind of a
Magic.
magic act
Yeah.
or something like that.
He made me get dressed up and go down there and have my picture made with me.
Big character.
He was. He was.
Only time I ever knew of him drinking during my time, and Darcy said she heard Pat, Charles could remember Dad drinking so much, you know. But he knocked on the door. Mom said, "Charlie, you've lost your trailer." He had a little old trailer. He carried all the tent and all in it. He turned around and looked at the car. He said, "I'll be down. It is gone." He had to go down the highway and get his trailer. Mama was fussing at him. He just turned that deaf ear and act like he didn't hear.
Well, see, Mom got where she'd run those shows, too. Daddy'd be at one place and Mom would be at another.
Yeah.
Putting on shows. Mom got where she'd run, too. That's when they was making the money. They was making good
I
money.
was, you know, people that was way down.
Back then, they didn't have shows.
That was like Depression area.
Yeah, it's,
Well, just before that, weren't they running around doing following the crops?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, picking fruit, picking
Yeah.
vegetables. Were you guys involved in
we
that?
picked cotton.
Cotton.
Cotton. Well, that's a big thing.
Strawberries. Strawberries.
I don't know how we crawled up one roll and
I've picked a lot of strawberries in my life.
had,
Oh, yeah. That's hard work.
Yeah.
well, I know that's, you
We
know,
moved that every year. Somewhere.
I mean, what'd you do, go from Missouri to Arkansas to
Florida.
Florida and back around to
Kentucky.
Alabama?
Kentucky.
Yeah.
I've never been in Alabama or Kentucky.
And just kept coming back to Anderson for the winters?
Yeah. Then Florida, then back, you know. But now, when I got bigger, that didn't go on too much. That was more so when Aunt Pat and Uncle Doris, or Aunt Doris and Uncle, or your daddy, was younger.
Yeah.
When I got up in my teenage years, Daddy was sick, but then he didn't, didn't move much around.
Yeah. Well, he'd gotten into the mustard gas in the war,
Yeah.
and he got some of that poisonous gas, and I heard him. Then he came back and worked for a dynamite.
Got his eardrum burst.
Yeah, some kind of dynamite
And he
outfit.
in there, and he threw his head.
that's why he didn't hear Mama. He turned her head, so she just, you'd have to meet Mama though. She tells it like it is, and if you don't like it, it's fine. She's gonna say it anyway.
That's right.
I used to get on that porch and this old haunted house is sitting down there and I'd go to school and she'd be a fuss and I'd fuss, but I'd take her up to this big old house and I'd holler, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." But I didn't turn around where she could see my mouth.
Yeah.
Mama loves to fuss.
Sure.
Oh, she'd get up in the morning, and when her feet hit that floor, she'd start in. And she'd
And she'd
on
stand
all
up.
day long. She was there up into the night.
She'd put her hand like this and just, I don't know what she was arguing about, something I'd done.
I don't know whether it's her nerves or what it was, you know. But she just fussed all the time. Daddy just turned his deaf ear.
You know, I look back now, and Mama had an awful hard time raising these children, you know. Daddy took his check one time and went to Mexico.
Took a ship?
His check.
His check, his
Oh.
government check, stole it from the post office.
Our living. Our living.
Yeah.
He took it and ran off. Went to Mexico. Old Mexico. Didn't
What?
leave us a thing to live on.
How long was he gone?
He got sick again, probably a year. He got sick and he come home.
Mama didn't know where he was at, you know. He he had took all the money we had. And,
What year was that?
That's after I got married.
yep.
That was in the 50s, Ed. I don't know just when, but it was after I got married.
They decided to go to Mexico for a year, huh? That's called separate vacations.
I don't know. He was down in the middle of, Badlands down there. It wasn't at no border.
Well, Daddy looked like a Mexican anyway. He was dark complected. Had that white hair, dark eyes. And he looked like he fitted right in with them.
Yeah.
Because he looked like an old Mexican.
What did he do down there?
I don't know. We don't know.
We never did know what he done. He never did tell us, but probably nothing.
Only thing I seen, he brought home some movies or pictures or something when he was way down in Mexico.
Of a graveyard.
Yeah.
Picture graveyard.
When
When they decorated all the graves, it was certain. It was beautiful. And he took a picture of that and all that.
Huh.
But he was sick when he come home. Sick.
But I look back now.
I don't know how he ever got home.
Oh, he was terrible.
He had to go to bed and he stayed there till we put him in the hospital.
Like I say, now I can realize what a burden it is to try to get kids through school, and you kind of have to help, by raising your two. You got to go along with the crowd, or you're not accepted. That's just the way it was where we was
Well, you
going.
raised a few.
Yeah, sure did.
I think they could do it.
You've got an heirloom there, if you could do that. And because that fiddle he has had since I can remember, and I'm talking since I was a little girl, a very little girl, when he played well. The older I got, the sicker he got, and then the more he wanted to go back into the circus and fulfill his dreams. But as a little girl, I remember.
Tell me about the day you brought the elephant, monkey, and were you alive yet?
I don't think so, not with the monkey.
They were coming down the other place. One day he came home.
They always come home with
rolled up. Had a monkey, an elephant, and I forget. There's something else, and that's when the black guy came. The guy eventually changed his name to our name. You ever see his pictures of the circus?
Now that's the one I remember, showing those pictures.
Yeah.
So the day he brought the black guy home, which Mama was not prejudiced, she was very nice to everybody, but she said, "Now Charlie, this just don't look right." And he pulled that big old bus right up and parked it by the back door. Well, I just fell in love with the guy. And he'd sit on the back porch, and Mama would take his food out to the back porch and feed him. And he would tell me stories, and one day I was sitting on his lap, and he was telling me stories, and I was eating out of his plate, and Mama come out there, and she threw a fit. And this is the one that I did not know he changed his name to Thurman. He was a wonderful guy.
Well, I go through the history books. There are a lot of times when we used to own slaves, particularly the Dalton side, and a lot of them took Thurman as their first name, and a lot of them took him as their last name. So when you watch TV here and you see Thurman Thomas or one of these guys, you tell that.
But Mama wouldn't. She tried to be good and still keep the line there, And I'd hear her say, "You just put your dirty clothes over there in that corner there. I'll see that they're done too. Are you hungry? I got some fresh lemon pie in here. If you'd like a piece, I'll bring you out some." But she couldn't. I could tell she wanted to, because I think she thought a lot of him too, because he was a nice person. But it was just a no-no, just a no-no. Well, why should it be? It shouldn't have been, but it was. Because I loved him.
Was the guy married or have any kids?
Not that I know of. I have no idea. Daddy just come up with it. Just like he did the monkey and the elephant and the sack of tricks and all that stuff. His magic stuff.
never know when Daddy drove up. It wasn't passing.
That's that's Aunt Sally over in the far right and top.
Yeah, that's what Sally was showing with him. And then as we came up, then Nellie had to do. And then as I came up, I had to come over here to the Veterans Hospital. And I got in the sword box when he'd done all the things for the veterans.
How many years did he have this circus thing?
Well, I was probably 12 or 13. 11 or 12 when we came over here to the Veterans Hospital and put on a show for the veterans. By then, Nellie done got fired or quitting.
Right.
Sally done had her own life, so that it was me.
That's right.
Had her own life, so that it was me.
That's right.
And then I was 14 when we went down to Mexico and was stood showing down there with the Mexicans.
Well,
And
at
that's
some
when
place
he
in
came
there,
home and he was very
he got
sick.
mad. There, if I remember right, he got mad and grabbed the family paycheck and went to Mexico for a year. I kind of forgot to tell everybody where he went.
I was 14 when that happened, 13 when that happened.
What did,
He was gone almost a year when he
what did
came
Mara
home.
think about that?
She cried a lot. She fussed a lot.
So how long did you think when you decided to call and say, hey, I'm down in Mexico?
But when he came home and he could hardly make it in the door, his
Real sick.
emphysema was so bad. He was very, very sick. Very sick. He only lived 3 years after that. I remember him coming in and her helping him.
Well, he lived only 3 years after that? Well, he came and saw us, and, well, Kathy wouldn't like it, so I want to say on Everett Avenue in the early 50s. He died in 59, right? Yeah.
So he probably got well and came on out to see y'all or something because I was 17 when he died and I was 13 or 14 when he came home that year. And Mama helped him in and helped him to the bed. She said, go kiss your daddy goodnight. Because I just sat there and watched, you know, because he was like turning blue.
But you said it was emphysema he had?
My mom's brother, Uncle Lewis, which would be your great Uncle Lewis.
That's Lewis the dog.
Yes. He was in the hospital, not expected to live. So, your great Aunt Thelma came down to Mom's and picked Mom up, and they went to the hospital to see Uncle Lewis. And on the way home, they had the car accident.
Yeah, I got this thing here.
And she lived 6 weeks after the accident.
Let's see something. It says here that the car turned over. Went off the road and turned over.
I didn't go look at the car. She was thrown from the car.
What was your uncle's name?
Aunt Thelma's husband?
Yeah.
Uncle Pat.
Pat, okay. He was one. They were from Hannibal. Hannibal, Missouri, where they was living at that time.
Because Uncle Pat was a boozer. Aunt Thelma loved her beer. And Mama would not allow them to bring any alcoholic beverages into her home. The only alcohol beverages that allowed at Mama's home was blackberry wine or little Mogan David I'd get her on Monday, and she hid that, just that was medicine. I didn't even have a drink with her, no way. But on Monday, when we went and got her freshness, I got her blackberry wine or a little bottle of Mogan David. I'm talking about a half pint. And that was her medicine. It lasted her all week, sometimes 2 weeks. But she never refused a bottle because she'd hide it. It's good for her blood.
Well, here's this is. See, man, that's what they said about it.
evidently hit the telephone pole.
The car hit the telephone pole?
She did.
Yeah. So she did after she was thrown out of the car?
Because the injuries were unreal. Even her heart was bruised. The impact. Because I know they kept, I don't even know if her door was locked. I don't know what happened.
And it looked like she broke a lot of bones.
Bruised heart, gallbladder, the liver was severely damaged. I think that's a lot where the hemorrhaging was coming from for those 6 weeks. Broken pelvic, broken bones, broken ribs.
Well, her and Thelma was both hospitalized, but Thelma was real bad. She got out.
Well, she didn't stay very long in the hospital because she's just down the hall from intensive care, and I would go down and see her. Now, I don't even think she stayed a week.
No, she got out pretty quick.
She wasn't.
Miss Thurman, her problem was, she had diabetes real bad too, and that throws a lot of problems on her. They let her diabetes get away from her and put her in a coma. It's really what killed her. So
if I can get this, if I can remember this right, this is something you may want to remember because I don't know if it's a coincidence or it's things, if we have a destiny or things, a fate, or what you believe in, but this is true. They were married on the 22nd. Daddy's birthday was on the 22nd. She died on the 22nd, and he also passed away on the 22nd.
Oh, that's right.
So,
they were married on the same day and died on the same day.
Mm-hmm. And they were born.
Not on the same month, but on the same day of...
Just the same date.
The 22nd.
The 22nd.
Yeah.
On October the 22nd was also their wedding anniversary, which she died on their wedding anniversary. And Daddy was born on November the 22nd. And I'm thinking this is wrong here. I was thinking they were married in 1922 instead of 21. I used to have the marriage certificate hanging on my wall, but it went with the fire.
Well, next time I come down, they've got them on microfiche, I think, down there.
But if you'll notice, that your grandma and grandfather was all about 20 seconds in their life. Church.
Well, no, you talk about Georgia Witt?
No, just Grandma Dowdy. That's Mama's grandmother that raised her.
Yeah, I don't know anything about her, her name or anything.
Dorothy's got made a skit of it. She got a picture. She dressed like they did in the olden days. She had it right down to. It was good. I would like to have had a family. But she asked her about it, because I'm sure she...
Do you know where the Dowdys were from?
No.
See, I've totally lost them. I know that Grandma Witt had a sister, Cora.
Yeah.
I don't know if she had any other brothers or sisters. Somebody told me they kind of came out of Arkansas, or maybe...
I remember Mama talking about that, Cora, but I never saw her. But I remember Mama talking. Well, it was amazing how Charles run up on his grandma.
Yeah, down in Seattle.
And that'd be one in a million to find somebody like that. How'd he find her anyway?
I don't know. I think that's what happened, but...
Just looked her up to see.
Somebody said she might be in Seattle,
Yeah.
but I can remember the day that we went down there to find her. And if you go along the freeway, there's a couple of really old, right dead center of Seattle, there's a couple couple of old apartments that go up. They're the kind of buildings that nowadays you don't see people living in the second, third story. There's like a business on the first. And we went inside and went up, and her room was about the size of, not the entryway there, but just the size of this room right here. And that was like the total room. And she denied for a long time to my dad that she was who she was. And so we got her out of there and took her back to Everett. She lived with us for a couple months, and then the house next door came open, and the guy who owned it was a Dutch baker, this guy named Postma, and they give her a good deal on the rent. I think my dad was paying, the rent for it, whatnot. So she moved in next door, and I can remember, many's the time that she liked that Gillette Fight of the Night, and I liked the Lone Ranger, and they came on different channels at the same time. So we used to knock heads over the Gillette Fight of the Night.
When Mama told me Charles had found her mama, I don't know whether Mama took it with ease, how she would really feel, about her mama if she's seen her.
I have yet to understand. I know she wanted to go off and, get her nursing degree and go do something different. But, why she ran off to Cairo, Illinois with, and leaving, 3 girls and a boy behind, that's
Pretty bad.
And then stayed for 12 years?
Long time. I don't remember how many years. Well, it was longer than that. Because I was a junior in school. I guess when she died, because Mama gave me a lot of pictures.
She died like 57, 58, 59,
Yeah,
someplace
that would
in there.
be. And you didn't talk to Mama too much about it, because if she didn't bring it up. And I said, well, I really have missed out on having a grandma, because both sides are dead, and Grandma Whitney didn't want us. That's what I told Mama. She said, Mama, beautiful emerald ring. Mama gave it to me. She didn't want it. Got out of the buggy and the horse and just started walking and left them in there, because she said I had to, Mama was the oldest, and she had to take care of, start doing the cooking and help, with all.
Did she ever say, like, if they had a fight, or she said, hell, when they got out of the buggy and walked away?
She left.
Maybe because 12 miles is a long ways to walk. But she came back.
Like she said something about her daddy asked where she was.
But if she went to Cairo, is that where you said she went there? That was probably, she heard so much about it, at that time, Cairo was a big town,
Booming.
Really a popular town, and that's when all the river boats and everything was coming through there, and all the, traders right there. Central. It was almost like St. Louis right there at that time. And then she probably figured she'd go to Cairo.
Really an upbeat place, things were happening there.
Yeah.
But after having
make a better living for
porch,
probably.
can you imagine walking off and leaving them?
I mean, there must have been just something that just really kind of snapped.
And I see Mama cry many a day, even when she was 60 years old. When she would, cry for her mama. We all do go and do that.
Yeah, well, she lived in and around us for 3 or 4 years before
She cried when your dad sent some of her, Grandma Witt stuff to her. I come in from school that day, and she was sitting there crying.
All the days that we found her, Dad called down.
No, it was when he sent a trunk or something with a rosary and some pearls and just some stuff, jewelry or something.
Oh, after Grandma Wood died.
Sent it to Mom.
Yeah.
And she
So it was like
said, I don't
58,
even know her. She said, I only remember when I was 7 years old. It was a big hurt. And she told me one time, she said, I'll never understand it. She said, I would
wake blood up to my elbow, or I'd pick shit with the chickens before I'd ever give up one of my kids.
Yeah. I don't understand it. You know, it's kind of like a maternal, you know.
And I think she did both. She said, I'd never give up one of my kids, and I'll never understand what my mother did.
Tell me about that.
Well, Hollywood was down in Fort.
What did you say?
Your great Uncle Howard, who was known for his foolishness and known to stretch stories, told me the way Anniston got started was this guy that settled the town didn't want it in his name, but he had a daughter that weighed a ton, so they just decided to name it Anniston.
Oh, is that right?
That's right. That's what he said. Herschel Howard Thurman, that'd be your great uncle.
And his ton.
And his ton. And he's told me that since I was a little girl, and I believed him. But that's not true.
Well,
according to this.
according
But it's
to
close.
Haley Switch, and he had a daughter. The postmaster had a daughter named Annis.
But the daughter's name was Annie.
Yeah.
So they named it Annie.
Annistown or Annistown, yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be there.
Well, he wasn't far off. He
Well, I
was.
just bit a little bit.
Well, I still miss Florida. And I miss sometimes the weather and stuff. But to me, this is roots. This is my home. Not necessarily Poplar Bluff, but I'm in Missouri. And I'm close to my home, to my roots, which is
Yeah.
Anniston.
Out of here, are there a lot of people that live out in the hollers and stuff like that that
Oh, yes.
kind of tuck around?
They just come
Yeah,
out of
there's
nowhere.
we got, oh shit,
There's some wonderful
just
people
since
that
we
live
moved
here.
out here, we've been here 9 years, and this place it's grew, oh hell, in population, I bet you 5,000 people in the last 9 years, since we've moved down here.
Is that right? It seems to me the last time I was out here, your people were just sort of like walking out of the woods, you know, from nowhere. It's like, I talked to one guy, he sort of talked like, you know, you go down this road and then you know, if you're driving, you park the car and then you start walking along the stream bed. And when you get so far, you kind of go up over the hill and that's where we live.
Yeah.
You can't get a car back there.
I think
Well, it's
sometimes
still a lot of
when
places
you've
like
worked,
that here.
you've worked so hard all your life and you've dealt with people and you've worked in the public like I have, this is my opinion. I wanted to move to the woods where I could enjoy nature and have my, what they call now, your own space.
Yeah.
I don't care about town. I don't think I'd ever go to town. You have to go now to get what you need.
Yeah. But we're out in the country. Out with trees.
Oh, I love it.
Nah, I've never lived in the city other than just someone I had to, you know.
Yeah.
But I think what Russ
Born and
misses
raised
about
in
Florida
California. My
is the
parents
white
sure
sand
probably-
and the weather.
We grew up that way.
Hey, you came from what part of Missouri? Or Arkansas? Or,
Oh, Missouri, well, I was born and raised right down there where she was, down East Prairie.
oh, really?
34 Corner, Birds Point, all them places.
Wolf Island, which is right down
Yeah.
below Anderson there. That's where I was born at.
Is that right?
And born and raised.
You've been down from Anniston where you go like through 34 Corner and down
Yeah.
to the river where the ferry used to cross. That's where Jesse James crossed it many, many
Up there,
times.
Columbus, the Columbus
Belmont.
Ferry, you know,
Yeah.
Columbus, Belmont. That's where I
That's how
was
the
born.
boys and the Dalton boys came across the river there. And Jesse James, when he was running with them, they always crossed there.
Yeah,
Did you two know each other when you were back in?
No?
No, we didn't meet till after she got divorced. I got divorced before we were men.
But you met down around Charleston?
Yeah, Charleston. That's where I was living.
I had taken your Aunt Nellie out for pizza. Her and Porridge were into it as usual. And I had taken her over to Sykes to the pizzeria, and we'd had, I hate pizza. I just don't eat pizza, but she loved it. So I took her and we had a couple pitchers of beer and she had her pizza. And we were coming back home. Now this was in Saxon, so we're coming back through Charleston. And I said, I'm starving to death. I stopped at the truck stop. I'm going to get me a steak. Well, I can eat again too, you know, Aunt Millie. So we went in there and I was ordering my supper before we went home. And he happened to be sitting over there at a table with, I think, your brother Roy and a bunch more, I don't know. But your Aunt Nellie and I were by ourselves. And Nellie said, I know them guys over there. Well, she used to date his brother, because they're like the same age. Oh, well, I looked over there and I seen Russ, and I said, well, ain't that one cute? And evidently he heard me. Next thing I knew, he's sitting at our table.
Well, there.
So we met at a truck stop.
Well, that worked out okay.
And we weren't even trucking. That's the truth.
Yeah. What do you remember about living in Anniston? I was talking to somebody yesterday. He said there was a livery stable there, and the train came through. And LP told me about the slough that came right behind his house. And they moved in.
I never would mess around Anniston.
The only thing I can remember in my early years, and this was when I was probably 5, 6 years old, was the old Pink Elephant, which was the cafe there, and that changed. It might have been the Greasy Spoon and then the Pink Elephant, or it could have been vice
Old
versa.
George Joe would be the best one there.
Yeah, he could tell you lots about Anniston.
Who's that?
George Joe.
Yeah, you know George.
I suppose last name.
C-H-O-A-T.
Oh, yeah.
He lived in Anniston.
Matter of fact, he's the reason we
He knew all the Thurmans.
came over here, you know, when we came back to Florida. The reason we came back over here, he's been a friend of ours all of our lives.
Matter of fact, he used to say I was a lot like Pryor, Uncle Pryor. Because Uncle Pryor was a barber in Anniston. And when I took my cosmetology and stuff like that, he said, I can't believe that that you're just like your Uncle Pryor. Which I don't know if he was my uncle. That would have been Aunt Maud's husband. So where does he come in?
I wanted to talk to, you know, about Anniston, because he's, well, what George, 60?
The only,
66?
no, he's getting older than that.
But he just turned 66.
More like 68 or something. The next thing I can remember is I remember old Earl Highs. That was our grocery store, which he had a little butcher block there, and his old cat sat right up there on that butcher block when he sliced our bologna.
When you say Pryor, that's when I was married to Maud Bass.
Yep,
He was a barber.
he was a barber. As GW said, he could F.
He was what?
Let me see how I can put it where it'll sound nice.
Just like my liquor, get it straight up.
Fuck, fiddle, and fight. That's all the Thurmans knew how to do.
That works okay for me. No, the Pot Charlie was a fiddler.
The 3 F's, yeah.
Somebody told me one time that
Daddy
I guess
can
that's
make
what it started learning how to play fiddle on. There's something like that.
I thought you knew how to play
I play guitar a little bit.
guitar.
Yeah.
So I know your mom had told me how...
Now, who was it that said that all the Thurmans down to do? Who was it?
This is George Schultz. He was raised, he's 60-something years old, and he was raised with all the Thurmans, and I mean, they run together, and he lived in Anniston all his life, too, so he could tell you some stories.
Now, somebody told me that, Pot Charlie, I knew played fiddle because he came out and he fiddled around all the time. And said that Embert played a bull fiddle or something.
Yeah, bass.
And,
The big one.
yeah. My dad played guitar.
Barney or your great Uncle Barney played.
What did he play?
He played guitar. Uncle Slick, I don't remember him ever playing anything. Uncle Walter, he played drums.
That was special in Anniston.
It was when they all got together because they had Big Paul, which is what I call him, was my grandpa, the one you're calling Amber, Bulger.
Yeah, Bulger, yeah.
Yeah. Call him Bulger. They were all very talented. Uncle Barney was good until he let the wine burn his brain up. You might have heard it secondhand from somebody else, but I don't think we ever told him.
I probably wouldn't go around telling them about it.
Well, Darcy, I think it was Darcy, somebody told me that you wanted to hear about your aunt that believes in ghosts. Did you?
Oh, she told me something about the rapping spirits. Which one is that?
Millie's the ghost, one that goes.
He visited me all that till I put a stop to it.
Do you hear about rapping spirits?
Yeah.
Well, what's a rapping? Is it a rapping spirit or a tapping spirit?
Rapping.
Rapping. I mean, like it raps on a...
Like it would be.
Don't do that now, you make home.
Well, he's calling.
I mean, what happens whenever they call?
I really got into it bad. I mean, I had to quit because I was really getting where they'd come see me at night, you know.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Followed me around for about 8, 9 years.
This is your ghost, Fred.
No.
Did
No,
Fred,
what's his name?
Fred didn't used to be a haunter, did he?
George. George was her ghost.
You know, I never did find out what them preacher's name was. Sally didn't introduce us.
I'm just wondering if George was, a rapping spirit. Well, tell me about this rapping spirit now.
It's not the rapid spirit, it was a ghost that got after her.
Well, no, I have heard the rapid spirit on my pillow slip.
On what now?
On your pillow.
Yeah.
And that's where they usually, it's like raindrops.
That's what Aunt Doris was saying. She said she heard it too.
She wouldn't admit it for a long time, because then I started telling them all of it. And I think they have, Edith's kind of psychic. She
All right.
knows. And Doris and Harriet, Pat and John had come to Georgia to see me one time. And I said, now Pat, if you wake up, don't think nothing, you see a light in the bathroom hall, because my ghost is here tonight.
Right.
She said, how do you know? I sat up all night long looking for that flashlight to come in and get me. I was going to get out of here.
Well, how did you first run into George?
When Papa Richard left me one time with 5 babies. It was right at school time. And just odd things was happening to me, I could see the spirit in the hallway. I could see it. Sometimes got in bed with me. I had sex too, and he done all the work. I just thought when Terry died, I stayed a few days with Doris, and they had this big book of the President Kennedy murder trial and all. I was sitting there reading it. I fly to it, and you can do that.
You talk about leave your body and fly?
Sure can.
I gotta hear about that too.
Well, I was in bed reading, and my body decided it wanted to go flying. So I took my gown, and I went around the moon. I can see this, just plain. My body's laying here, and I'm flying around, holding my gown up like this and flying. I come back, and I missed my flight landing.
You missed your flight landing,
I lost my, I hit the floor, and I screamed, and I said, go see what's wrong with her. I said, oh, it's just George. I missed my body with my flight.
Don't lay them on the floor.
Well, the master flying.
Yeah.
Mr. Body hit the floor.
You need more practice.
I never was a pilot. Is it time for us to go in?
Yeah, we're going to let her go here in a little bit, take her nap then.
Oh, that's all right.
But I want to hear the rest about George real quick.
Well, what would you like to hear? Well, he comes to her bed.
About your first meeting.
The day before school started, after I said that Paul left, and I heard it like crumbling on the newspapers, you know how you crumble. And I was laying there in bed and I could hear this crumble. I laid real still. Next thing I know, I could feel this impression by the side of my me, you know, where the mattress just like this, and I knew somebody else was in that bed. It wasn't who it was supposed to be. So he made love to me. I don't know what you know.
Good.
I guess it was. I called him back for more.
Yeah, but sometimes that's because you just do good by it.
That's true, you know. And they always said he's the best lover she ever had.
Is that right? Well, he's got an advantage, though. We got stuff like Nellie's place today. She's really looking pretty good.
Is she?
Oh, today's a really good day for her.
Oh, great.
But she just looks good today. But she was telling me stories about her astro traveling, and I laughed. She said, "Yeah, one time I decided to go around the moon, so I started picked up, left my body, and I went down around the moon, and then I came back, I miscalculated, and I missed my body, and I hit the floor."
She did.
You know, I don't mess with people because it might be true. You never know.
Well, now I believe in it too. Now I know.
You ever miss your body?
No, I have left my body, but I never got enough courage to go very far.
I've got too many Miller Lights on occasion. It felt like I did, but
Oh no, no, this is true.
I believe
Now, your Aunt Nellie can exaggerate, and the more she tells it, the better it gets. But the basic story is true, and I believe this off my heart because I have left my body before and floated. And one time I flew around Addison, and that was way back when I was a child, and we still had the old Pink Elephant, which was a restaurant. And the only time I got to go up there was when someone took me, like...
Pink Elephant,
It was a big monstrous building with a little cafe, ice cream parlor.
you said you had somebody...
It burnt.
Somebody ran it.
Mm-hmm.
The family ran it or something?
Part of the family. At one time, the Tatums run it.
Oh, but yeah.
So the Tatums and the Thurmans are kin.
Yeah. So you just sat, you were just
Oh, yeah.
asleep and got up there?
Yeah. No, you leave your body, and I just soared like a bird. And I went up to the Pink Elephant. It was closed. It was too late.
So you came home, got back in your body.
But I didn't miss my bed. I didn't miss my body. I just went right back into it. But we've had a lot of fun doing these things, but as long as you don't get too serious
Tell
about
me
it.
about the rapid spirits.
Now, I have heard them, and I can only tell you they sound like raindrops on your pillow. I mean, they are so close, like it's dripping into a bucket. Just a drip, drip. But it will change speeds. And the first time I heard it, I asked your grandpa about it. I told Daddy what I heard, and he said, don't mess with it. Don't answer it. He said, Aunt Lou told
talked to it for years, and it drove her crazy. So I never talked to it. Never. But it came to me several times, and it would start like it was outside, like, you know, like something dripping, and then it just, till it was right here on your pillow, just right there.
Did you ever meet George the ghost?
No.
Nellie's ghost?
No.
You ever hear about that?
Yes.
Yeah, she used to come from that. She had several ghosts.
That was interesting. I mean, that was an interesting thing. There's a lot of things that I can't explain. You know,
One night she was
that
staying
those
one
things
night.
hard to explain.
She was staying all night with us one night. And she was talking. I went in there. I said, Nellie, who are you talking to? And she said, that woman in the hall. Right there she is. And I turned around and I said, you mean she's behind me? And she said, yes, yes, yes. I said, Nellie, you know you can't have company this late.
You can't have company this late.
I said, we don't have company this late at night. She looked at me and she still kept looking in the hall. So I went over and I opened the front door and I went like this down the hall and I said, now you get out here and don't you come back. We do not entertain this late at night. So I kind of waited till she went out and I shut the door and Nellie went, there. And she turned over and went back to sleep.
How old was she?
This was when? 5 years ago?
That's only been 4 or 5 years ago.
Is that right?
Nellie went, there. I said it, and then after I got the lady out, she said she had on a fur coat and a hat and all this, but it scared her. And I said, well, you know better than have company this late at night. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I didnn't invite her in here. She just came in here by herself. I said, well, I told her, I said, don't you come back.
You got it started, they wouldn't leave you alone.
Traffic experience then.
And Aunt Lou said in her older days that she never fooled with it because she said it would come to her all the time, so she didn't want to fool with it. Now this was, we're telling you what we've heard.
Yeah, but what was it she did with these spirits? They make a crap.
Now that I don't know. What she called them or what she wanted to find out.
Good spirits, evil spirits.
The only thing I ever heard that they laughed about, I don't know if it was evil or not, but they said one time that they, you know, then if they had that home, you held on to it because, you know, you couldn't have it one comb at a time, and if you lost or broke that comb, you was out of a comb. So Daddy used to laugh and tell this. He said that, you know, Uncle Prior was much older than Daddy, and they was raised up together. So Aunt Lou came in one day and wanted to know where her comb was. And they called her, the boys called her Ma, Big Pa and Uncle Prior, they called her Ma. And they said, Uncle Prior, Ma, he didn't know anything about the comb. She said, well, one of you boys had that comb. Well, they denied even seeing it. She said, I'll just call the rapid spirits and I'll find out which one of you got the comb. And Uncle Prior said, it was me, Ma.
Well, now what was it, Doris, about the pigs that time? There was something about
That was another woman. That wasn't that
Lou. No, didn't lose the saddle. There was something about the pigs, and Aunt Lou.
Maybe I don't know about that. I forgot it. I don't know.
And she called the spirits on that. And I mean, now this was like from whenever I was over 7 or 8 years old. And then I must have been 15 when I heard that peck on my pillow.
Oh, I know. I heard them just about a week before Daddy died. As I went down and stayed with Mama, we'd all came home from the hospital. We were upstairs in that front bedroom. And I kept hearing this. I knew what it was. But then I heard it. I knew it's just like raindrops hitting on your pillow, you know. And I mean, I never knew. If you ever hear it, you'll know. You'll know what it is because it's just like a drop of rain on your pillow. But
Well, I've heard people walk outside.
it's just a dry phone, see, and I thought, I laid